So in one of my recent videos, we talked about what lifestyle creep is, what causes lifestyle creep, and we also shared several examples. Now I'm going to share 10 tips on how you could avoid lifestyle creep. So let's get into it. What's up everyone? This is Brandon Hill and welcome back to my channel where we share content to help young professionals develop personally, professionally, and financially. Before we jump into the 10 tips, let's quickly review what lifestyle creep is. So lifestyle creep or lifestyle inflation is when an individual's standard of living increases as his or her discretionary income level increases. So rather than taking that excess discretionary income and allocating it towards something like debt or investing, they feel entitled to spend that money because they earned it. And eventually this spending outpaces their income level, and this is how people end up living paycheck to paycheck. Now with that review covered, let's get into the 10 tips. So the first one is let the one-time treats be one time. Rewarding yourself isn't bad, and actually it's encouraged because it could help you continue to progress. A celebration could give you a sense of accomplishment, it could help you decompress after a lot of hard work, and it can help motivate you to continue to succeed. The key is to just let the one-time thing be one time. If you got a raise or a bonus, go ahead and go out and have a nice night out or buy something that you've always wanted, but just avoid letting one expenditure become an all-out splurge. Number 2 is to prioritize debt repayment. When your discretionary income increases, your first priority should be to pay your bills and pay down any outstanding debt. Allowing debt to stay around is a bad thing because debt carries interest and that interest will take away from your net worth. So it's better to just pay off your debt if you can. By using your income to pay down debt, you'll avoid the negative impact of interest and you'll work towards being debt-free, which is immensely relieving and rewarding. So the third tip is to max out your retirement accounts. After your debts are taken care of, work towards maximizing your retirement accounts. Allocate the maximum amount to your 401k, your IRA, or any other accounts you have. By doing so, you'll make sure your bases are covered when it comes to retirement. So tips 2 and 3 so far will give you a strong foundation financially. After this, your money could be used a little more loosely. Tip 4 is to set goals for your budget. Creating a budget is a great way to guide your spending. By setting goals for the amount that you spend on food, travel, entertainment, or anything else, you help keep yourself in line with your budget, even as your income starts to increase. So if your income starts to increase, but you still have your budget, it's going to prevent you from spending that excess money. And your budget should be optimized for only the essentials. If you notice that you're constantly overspending in certain areas, it could be a telltale sign that your lifestyle is starting to creep up. So tip number 5 is to frequently conduct a financial audit. And a financial audit is basically taking a look at everything within your finances and trying to make improvements. So you're going to focus on your income, your expenses, your budget, and your investments. And you're going to look at them and basically ask, is everything on track? Are there any improvements that can be made? Should I allocate more towards investments? Do I have to change my budget? How's my income versus my expenses looking? You're just trying to improve your financial situation. And I'd recommend that you do this at least once a quarter. So now we're on to number 6. And tip 6 is to save percentages rather than dollar amounts. So instead of saving a set dollar amount like $200 a month, you're going to set a percentage of your income that you're going to save every month. So let's go through an example here. So imagine you make $2,000 every 2 weeks, and you set up a rule that will save 10% of that paycheck every time it comes in. So every 2 weeks, you're saving $200. Now, imagine that you get a raise and you make $3,000 every 2 weeks now. Since your savings rule is set up to save 10% every 2 weeks still, now the amount that you're saving is $300 every 2 weeks instead of $200. So this is better than saving a fixed amount of say $200 a month, because even if you got that raise, you would still be saving $200 a month unless you change that. So this just kind of automates it and makes it easier for you to save a certain percentage of your income. Tip 7 to help you out with lifestyle creep is to create a fund dedicated to fun. So creating a fund dedicated to fun will help you manage your money better. For example, you could set a savings rule saying, save 5% of every paycheck, and whatever that 5% amounts to, that's how much money I could spend guilt-free on anything I want. And for tips 6 and 7, I would recommend using this app Qapital. So this is an app I use myself. And basically it's an app that connects to your bank account and allows you to set up all these savings rules. So this is how I automate my savings. To create a fund dedicated for fun, for example, you could set these goals. Here's an example that they have here. So some people are saving for their dream wedding, some are saving for travel, some are saving for starting a business. And you could set up all these fun rules that make saving automatic and interesting. So set it and forget it. For example, you could say, save $10 every couple of days. Or you could have a percentage, like I said, where you could say every time you're paid, save 10% for this and save 5% for fun. You could also connect to your Apple Watch. So for example, I set my Apple Watch up with this, and basically every time I work out, it's gonna save $10. And that just accumulates over the year into a few $1,000s. So yeah, that's what I'd recommend for that. Now we're on to number 8, which is to spend on experiences rather than material items. Experiences are going to be a lot more fulfilling and memorable than spending on any material good. So if you're going to spend your money on things, I think you should spend on doing fun things with people that you like being around, or taking fun trips, going to music festivals or whatever, rather than buying, designer clothes. The thrill and satisfaction of buying material things fades pretty quickly. And as it fades, you'll be tempted to fill that gap with another purchase or another item, which if you're not careful could lead to a downward spiral of spending. Tip number 9 is to surround yourself with the right people. So in my first video on lifestyle creep, I talked about how the people you hang around with could have a big impact on whether you're affected by lifestyle creep or not. If you're around people that like to spend a lot, you're probably gonna like to spend a lot too. So if you surround yourself with the right people, you can mitigate this impact. If your friend group makes just as much as you, but they spend twice as much as you, that could show poor money management on their part. So that's something that you want to avoid. Finally, tip 10, which is a golden tip in avoiding lifestyle creep, is to automate. So you could automate your bills, your savings, and your investing. And I've already talked about this a little bit with the Qapital app. The Qapital app helps you with automating your savings really well, but you also need to automate your bill payment. If you're automating your bill payment, then any discretionary income you have could go to paying down those bills. You could also automate your investing. So if you invest a set percentage per month, as your income increases, the amount that you invest each month is going to increase. And the benefit of automation is that it takes all of the headache and the hassle off your hands. If you're making extra income, it's a lot harder to say, hey, I'm going to go into my accounts and add more money now that I'm making more money. That barrier right there might prevent you from doing that. However, if things are automated, you don't even have to think about it. As you make more money, you're going to still be saving X amount of dollars, investing X amount of dollars, and paying down all your debt automatically. So I really highly recommend that you automate your finances as much as possible. So with that, those are the 10 tips to help you avoid lifestyle creep. As we've talked about, lifestyle creep is something that young professionals really need to avoid because your income is accelerating at the fastest pace it ever will be. And if you don't find a way to control your spending, you could still be living paycheck to paycheck as your income increases and as your spending increases. So I hope this video helped you, and I hope these 10 tips help you out and help you manage your money better. And I'll see you on the next video.